Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we have a huge stack of sources in front of us. We're talking documentaries, market analyses, interviews, even lyrical deep dives.
We really do.
And our mission is to use them to distill a kind of blueprint. A blueprint for, well, unprecedented success.
Right, because today we are digging into the evolution of Shawn Corey Carter.
The man who became Jay-Z. And this isn't just a music story, not by a long shot. This is really a masterclass in how you convert cultural capital into, a global economic force.
It truly is. We are dissecting a $2.6 billion empire.
An empire built by the man who, as of 2025, is the richest musician alive.
And not just the richest. You have to remember, in 2023, he was named the greatest rapper of all time by both Billboard and Vibe.
So it's that paradox. That's what's so fascinating. How does one person become both? The certified creative genius, 25 Grammys?
25 Grammys, first rapper on the Songwriters Hall of Fame, a total legend in his field.
And at the same time, he's this business titan. He was the first hip-hop billionaire back in 2019.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the core question is how? How did he master these two completely different roles?
Okay, so let's unpack that. The sources all point to this incredible, this rags to riches narrative that you hear in all his music.
It's the through line of his entire career.
Right. But our goal here is to go deeper than just the biography. We want to analyze the critical decisions, the high-stakes pivots that created this dual identity. We're looking for the why behind the move from the streets of Brooklyn to the boardrooms.
From Marcy to Def Jam and then, way, way beyond.
To really understand the mogul, you have to start at the foundation.
You have to.
Shawn Corey Carter, born December 4th, 1969. He grows up in the Marcy Houses,
which is a public housing project in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn.
And this experience, it's not just a tough childhood. The sources and his own lyrics frame it as his first business school.
That's the crucial distinction, yeah. The environment in Marcy, it really forged his survival instincts. But more than that, his understanding of, supply and demand.
Risk management.
Exactly. Risk management. All skills that are directly transferable to the music industry and, well, any business, really.
And a huge part of that foundation was personal. His father, Adnis Reeves, abandoned the family when he was just 11.
And that event becomes the emotional core of so much of his early work. He's raised by his mother, Gloria Carter, along with his 3 older siblings. That struggle, that absence, it's all there in the lyrics.
And it seems like the formal education system, it didn't hold him.
No, not at all. He bounced around Eli Whitney High School, George Westinghouse, then Trenton Central.
But he never graduated. He drops out in his sophomore year.
Right. And that instability basically pushes him completely into the street economy.
When you look at his own accounts from interviews and his music, he's very candid about this period. He talks about selling crack cocaine.
And the environment was incredibly volatile. He said he was shot at 3 times during those years.
But what's so interesting is how he reframes this later on in his business career.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He consistently refers to the street hustle as his foundational training in entrepreneurship.
Right. The risk assessment, the negotiation skills he learned. He says they were invaluable when he got into the recording industry.
And you believe him because you see the results.
I think we need to touch on one of the more intense, defining moments from that time, something the sources really highlight, the violence within his own family.
Yeah, this is heavy stuff.
In his 1997 album, In My Lifetime, Volume 1, on the track You Must Love Me, he details shooting his older brother.
His brother Eric, in the shoulder.
Because his brother stole his jewelry, and Jay-Z was only 12 years old at the time.
1982. And it's an anecdote he has publicly confirmed. It just gives you this visceral look into the high-stakes, pressurized world he was living in.
The desperation.
Total desperation. And the need for, immediate, sometimes violent self-preservation. It's a traumatic moment for sure. But as an artist, he later uses it to explore these huge themes of guilt and forgiveness.
It's not just a factoid in his biography. It's a key piece of context that informs his later, almost meticulous control over his own image.
Absolutely. So let's pivot to the artistic path.
Okay. His name, even his name, is a nod to how he got his start. He was known locally as Jazzy.
Right, which he then adapted into Jay-Z as an homage to his mentor.
The New York rapper Jazza.
Exactly. And his first steps in the music world were pretty opportunistic. Brief features, guest spots on Jazzo's songs in the late 80s, early 90s.
Tracks like HP Gets Busy and Hawaiian Sophie.
Yeah. He was just building his resume brick by brick, leveraging the connections he had.
Which leads us to the moment he gets that wider visibility. The Big Daddy Kane posse cut from 1994 show and prove.
Mm-hmm. And for a long time, the story was that he was just Kane's hype man.
But the sources clarify this, and the clarification is vital to understanding his strategic mind, even back then.
It is. Kane himself corrected the record on this. He explained that Jay-Z wasn't a traditional hype man, yelling in the background.
Right.
Instead, when Kane would go off stage to change his outfit, he would bring Jay-Z and another artist out and just let them freestyle.
For the audience. Live.
Live. So it wasn't servitude.
It was stage time arbitrage. He's using a major artist's platform to showcase his own skills.
And getting direct exposure to a huge audience without having to pick his own shows. It was brilliant. Strategic networking disguised as an opening act?
An early demonstration of leveraging other people's infrastructure for your own gain.
Precisely. And all that groundwork led to his first official single as a lead artist in my lifetime.
1995. That's the moment he formally steps out from the shadows to establish the Jay-Z brand. Okay, so section 2. This starts with the ultimate example of, necessity being the mother of invention, the story of Roc-A-Fella Records.
This is more than just music history. It's a lesson in bootstrap entrepreneurship.
It's the perfect transition from the street hustle, isn't it?
It really is. He can't get a major label deal. So what does he do? He, along with Dame Dash and Kareem Biggs Burke, they just start their own label, Roc-A-Fella Records, 1995.
And the sources confirm the almost mythical detail. They were literally selling burned CDs out of a car.
Out of a car. And when you look at that initial operation, it's a mirror image of the street drug trade model.
Vertical integration.
Yep. Control over distribution, high margins, direct-to-consumer sales. They were proving the market demand themselves, taking all the risk away from the major labels.
And that hustle leads to the debut album, Reasonable Doubt, in 1996.
And they didn't just put out any album. They went out and hired the best. Production from legends like DJ Premier, a feature from the Notorious B.I.G.
This wasn't just a record. It was a business proposal wrapped in artistic excellence.
Absolutely. And while it wasn't a mega hit right away, it went gold and established Jay-Z as this top-tier lyricist. He made himself unavoidable.
So after Reasonable Doubt, they start to scale up. An initial distribution deal with Priority Records.
But the real power move came in 97. That's when Roc-A-Fella secures a major distribution deal with Def Jam.
And that deal was critical.
Oh, it was everything. Because it gave them the resources and reach of a major label, but they got to keep their independent brand and, most importantly, their creative control. It was a hybrid model, the best of both worlds.
And the follow-up, In My Lifetime, Volume 1 with Diddy's production goes platinum. The engine is working.
It's built for speed.
And then comes the moment that just changes the entire economic picture for his career. Volume 2, Hard Knock Life in 1998.
That album was an earthquake. It became his most commercially successful album to date, eventually going 5 times platinum, over 5 million copies sold.
And the stylistic shift is key. He moves away from the dense boom-bap flows of Reasonable Doubt.
Towards something more accessible, hook-driven. He's still got the incredible wordplay, but it's over these contemporary, punchier beats from guys like Swizz Beatz and Timbaland.
Which broadens his appeal dramatically.
Massively. And Hard Knock Life, Ghetto Anthem, was the cultural breakthrough. Everyone knew that song.
The success of Vol 2 then leads to this huge public statement. He wins a Grammy for the album.
But he boycotts the ceremony.
And this wasn't just him being difficult. It was calculated cultural politics.
A powerful political statement using his new commercial leverage. He was protesting 2 things at once. First, that DMX didn't get any nominations despite his massive success.
Right.
And second, he was protesting the Academy's, general disrespect for hip-hop by not broadcasting the urban music categories on the main telecast.
So by boycotting, he's using his power to advocate for the whole genre, demanding respect from the mainstream establishment.
He's becoming a leader.
Yeah.
And his dominance just solidifies from there. After Volume 3 sells 3 million, we get to the Dynasty, Roc-La Familia in 2000.
Which is fascinating because it almost functions as an A&R showcase. He's introducing future heavyweights.
Exactly. Dynasty introduces the world to the next wave of super producers. Just Blaze, the Neptunes, and this young, hungry kid from Chicago named Kanye West.
So he's already thinking 3 steps ahead, bringing in the talent that's going to redefine the sound of the entire genre.
Which brings us directly to The Blueprint, 2001, a cultural cornerstone.
And released on September 11th. The circumstances around that album are just astounding.
It's a creative anomaly. It debuted at number 1, sold over 427,000 copies in the first week, and it got a rare 5-mic review from the source.
But the creation story,
Yeah.
that's the wild part. The sources say he wrote the entire album in 2 days.
Just 2 days, that raw, focused efficiency. It suggests a man who had so internalized his life experience that he could just download it onto wax instantly.
And the lasting legacy is definitely the sound. It cemented that soulful, sped-up sample aesthetic. And the collaborators.
Right. Kanye West produced 4 tracks, including the iconic beat for Izzo, H-O-V-A,
Yeah.
and he's featured on Renegade. The blueprint basically launched Kanye's career as an artist, not just a producer.
A cultural high watermark. The Library of Congress even selected it for preservation in the National Recording Registry in 2019.
Which is an honor that just speaks to its lasting cultural importance, way beyond sales figures.
But this era wasn't all just critical acclaim. It was also defined by competition, specifically the legendary feud with Nas.
Feuds in hip-hop are always complex, right?
Yeah.
It's part personal, part market positioning.
And Jay-Z really amplified it at Summer Jam in 2001 with the diss track takeover.
It was so strategic, using the biggest concert platform in hip-hop to deliver this lethal blow to Nas and Mobb Deep.
And then, just to show everyone who is in charge, he brings Michael Jackson out on stage at the same show.
It was a flex on every conceivable level, just pure cultural dominance.
Then Nas, of course, comes back with Ether. But what's important here isn't just the fight, it's how it ended.
The resolution. The sources confirmed the feud was squashed by 2005, with producer Mark Pitts mediating.
And that reconciliation was arguably even more strategic than the feud itself.
You could say that. By burying the hatchet, 2 New York titans stabilized the market and showed a unified front. It was a mature, commercially sensible move that benefited both of them.
And before he makes that full pivot to the corporate world, there's one more complex collaboration. The 2 albums with R. Kelly.
The Best of Both Worlds in 2002 and Unfinished Business in 2004. These projects demonstrated his willingness to cross genre lines to expand his commercial reach, adding another dimension to his portfolio right before he announced his retirement.
Which brings us to the most defining strategic moment of his career up to that point, the retirement of 2003.
Yeah, and this is not a retreat. This is an aggressive career transition.
He announces he's working on the Black Album. At the same time, he's opening his new luxury sports bar, the 40/40 Club.
He's literally signaling the move from the recording booth to the boardroom.
And the Black Album was the perfect artistic capstone. The producer list alone tells you it was meant to be an event.
Oh, it's a who's who. Just Blaze, Kanye West, the Neptunes, Timbalands, Eminem, and Rick Rubin. It was a victory lap that guaranteed massive sales and cultural impact.
It sold over 3 million copies in the U.S. It ensured his artistic legacy was completely undisputed before he stepped into that different role.
And the retirement party concert at Madison Square Garden, that was pure cultural spectacle.
November 25th, 2003, all documented in the film Fade to Black.
And the intention behind it went way beyond just music. All the proceeds went to charity, for one.
So he's positioning this retirement as a philanthropic act, not just a career change.
Exactly. And the most powerful moment was having the mothers of Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur on stage. Philetta Wallace and Afeni Shakur.
A profound symbolic gesture.
It was him unifying the greatest rivalries in rap history, signaling that he was now occupying a role that was bigger than just an artist. He was becoming a custodian of the culture.
But the real industry shift happens right after. In late 2004, the Roc-A-Fella situation is finalized.
It gets messy. He, Dame Dash, and Big sell their remaining interests in the label.
And then Jay-Z is named president and CEO of Def Jam Records.
This move confirms his choice of corporate power over the independent hustle. The sources suggest there were major disagreements between him and Dame Dash over the label's future.
So, by taking the top job at Def Jam, this storied institution, he gets control of a massive distribution system and publishing catalog.
He's basically institutionalizing his street-level skills.
And his 3-year tenure as CEO, from 2004 to 2007, it wasn't just symbolic. He cements his reputation as a talent-spotting executive.
His eye for talent was just unparalleled. His tenure is credited with helping launch the careers of artists who became global superstars. Rihanna, Kanye West, Neo. He proved he could identify talent not just in rap, but across R&B and pop. He showed the industry he understood the market better than the executives he'd replaced.
That experience was arguably the most crucial training ground before he launched his own entertainment conglomerate.
No question. He resigned from Def Jam on January 1st, 2008, having proved his point. But before that full shift, he does release two more albums.
The comeback albums. Let's talk about Kingdom Come in 2006,
Kingdom Come was a huge commercial success. It sold 680,000 copies in its first week.
which was his biggest sales week ever at that point.
Ever. And the production list was another power move. You've got Dr. Dre, Pharrell, and a really unexpected collaboration with Chris Martin of Coldplay on the track Beach Chair.
That collaboration with Chris Martin is so interesting. It feels like a precursor to his later embrace of global high culture legitimacy.
He's signaling that hip-hop can and should occupy the same spaces as rock and pop royalty,
Absolutely. And he follows that up in 2007 with American Gangster.
which is a concept album inspired by the Ridley Scott film. He said the film reflected his own past as a street hustler.
And this is an album where his lyrics start to directly engage with these larger geopolitical forces.
Right, his political consciousness is really merging with his art.
Which is where we find that incredibly analyzed track, Blue Magic.
Ah, yes. The lyric, blame Reagan for making me into a monster, blame Oliver North and Iran-Contra, Iran contraband that they sponsored.
This is so far beyond typical rap bragging.
It's a political thesis statement. He's suggesting that his involvement in the drug trade wasn't some simple moral failing, but a direct economic response to systems created by U.S. foreign policy.
Specifically referencing the Iran-Contra affair.
He's reframing the whole hustle. It's not just crime. It's a form of, albeit illegal, geopolitical supply chain management.
I remember the source material also talked about the music video for Blue Magic. He's flashing 500 euro notes.
Yes.
And our Harvard Business School professor called that a turning point in American pop culture's response to globalization. Why is that tiny detail so significant?
Because it moved the narrative away from just domestic currency, the dollar, and it positioned him in the context of international trade, global wealth. By using euros, he was signaling that his wealth transcended borders, that he was a player in the global economy.
It's a subtle but profound example of how he uses every single detail for narrative power.
So with the Def Jam presidency over, Jay-Z makes his final, most defining move. In 2008, he creates Roc Nation.
This is the moment he converts all that personal brand equity into corporate infrastructure.
Roc Nation was a calculated play for total vertical integration. He strikes a multi-million-dollar deal with Live Nation, the touring giant.
To create an entity that wasn't just a record label.
No. It was comprehensive talent and management agency, a music publishing company, everything.
So if Def Jam taught him how to run a major label, Roc Nation allowed him to own the entire value chain.
The whole thing. He's not just earning royalties anymore. He's managing the artists, publishing the music, booking the tours, controlling the careers from top to bottom.
It's a closed loop of revenue capture. That's the core strategy of the empire.
Yeah.
Own the infrastructure, not just the content.
Yeah, exactly. And almost immediately after launching Roc Nation, he steps onto the world stage in a way that directly challenged the cultural gatekeepers.
He headlines Glastonbury in 2008.
The traditionally guitar-driven festival in Britain. And the controversy was enormous.
Noel Gallagher of Oasis famously condemned the booking.
He said, "I'm not having hip-hop at Glastonbury. No way. No, no. It's wrong." It was a direct challenge to Jay-Z's cultural legitimacy outside of hip-hop.
And this is where his strategic confidence just shines. Instead of ignoring it, he absorbs the criticism into the performance.
It was a brilliant move of cultural judo. He opens his set with a tongue-in-cheek cover of Oasis's Wonderwall.
Masterful performance art, he neutralized the criticism, acknowledged the tradition, and then immediately established his own dominance.
And the performance was a massive success. It cemented his status as a global artist who could bridge any cultural divide. The fact that the guitar he used is in the Book of HOV exhibit just shows how central that moment is to his curated legacy.
He proved cultural capital could conquer musical snobbery.
Absolutely. And his albums continue to reinforce this new level of authority, the Blueprint 3 in 2009.
That's the one that breaks Elvis Presley's record for most #1 albums on the Billboard 200, his 11th.
A direct statistical affirmation of his longevity. And then came the collaboration that was really more of a corporate summit. Watch the Throne with Kanye West in 2011.
It started as an EP, but it grew into this massive full-length album, and the release strategy was really analyzed at the time.
It was a calculated scarcity play mixed with digital dominance. The album was released digitally on iTunes 5 days before the physical copies came out.
And he admitted this was to block internet leaks and control the narrative.
It worked. It broke iTunes sales records and proved the power of a strategic controlled digital debut.
He kept experimenting with that kind of controlled distribution with Magna Carta Holy Grail in 2013.
Announced through a Samsung commercial during the NBA Finals, he's using a multi-million-dollar corporate partnership as the album announcement itself.
This is also when he officially removes the hyphen from his name. All caps, J-A-Y-Z.
A subtle but significant rebranding. He's formalizing his identity into a single monolithic entity, a business unit.
And the high point of his later lyrical introspection comes with 4.44 in 2017. Critically acclaimed, deeply personal.
And another strategic masterpiece in its release.
It was pure corporate synergy, released exclusively to Sprint and Tidal customers, linking his creative work directly to his corporate investments.
And the RIAA certified it platinum through the Sprint deal. They bought 1 million copies to give to consumers. So he's leveraging internal corporate partnerships to guarantee success metrics and RIAA certification. It's brilliant.
And of course, the ultimate power collaboration, the Carters. In 2018, he and Beyoncé released Everything Is Love,
which cemented their status as this unified creative and commercial force. That album and the video for Apeshit filmed in the Louvre.
That wasn't just music, it was a global status affirmation, deliberately placing themselves among Western cultural masterpieces.
A visual declaration of their artistic and financial royalty.
Okay, let's pivot entirely to the business empire that makes up the bulk of that $2.6 billion valuation. Let's look at fashion, beverages, and tech.
Starting with fashion, Rocawear. Co-founded in 1999, it was one of the first successful urban clothing brands to cross over.
But the exit strategy is the key part. In 2007, he sells the rights to Iconic's brand group for $204 million.
And the sources emphasize that he kept a stake in creative oversight.
That's the definition of a smart sale. He cashes out for over $200 million, but he still benefits from its future success and can guide its direction.
And you can't forget his early endorsements. He was the first rapper with a signature Reebok shoe, the S. Carter collection in 2003. He established the blueprint for artists collaborating with athletic brands.
Okay, beverages, luxury goods. This is where he fully converts cultural capital into blue-chip assets. The big one is Armand de Brignac champagne.
Ace of Spades. This was a deliberate statement about ownership. He acquired a 100% stake in 2014 for $200 million.
He went from endorsing it to owning the whole operation.
Exactly. He's showing everyone he isn't just a hired face for a luxury brand. He is the luxury brand.
On the tech and media front, the move to buy Aspiro in 2015 for $56 million, which became Tidal. That was maybe his most ambitious and high-risk venture.
It was meant to be a disruption. His stated mission for Tidal was radical. An artist-owned streaming service to restore the value to music by offering higher royalty rates than Spotify.
But did it work? Did it actually restore value, or did it end up being more of a niche service?
Well, it struggled with scale compared to the giants, but strategically, it accomplished two huge goals for him. First, it forced the whole industry to raise their royalty rates, proving his influence.
Okay.
And second, it positioned him as an innovator and a champion for artists, which really enhanced his reputation. And he used it as a powerful distribution lever for his own content, like with 4.44.
Then there's his online magazine, Life Plus Times, investments in private jet apps. He's always investing in the high-end services his audience aspires to.
And then sports. His involvement with the Brooklyn Nets was huge for his hometown.
Part owner from 2003 to 2013. He used his influence to help move the team from New Jersey to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. He literally brought a major league team back to his home borough.
But he had to give up his ownership stake to pursue his next big thing.
Becoming a certified sports agent.
Right. To comply with league rules, he sells his small share to launch Roc Nation Sports in partnership with CAA. This let him immediately jump into the lucrative world of athlete representation.
Another example of controlling the talent and the management infrastructure in a whole new industry.
The pattern is just undeniable. He consistently moves into high-growth, high-margin, or status-defining sectors. Hospitality, cannabis, beauty, always securing a position of ownership or executive oversight.
Converting fame into lasting equity.
To really understand the whole picture, though, you have to confront the complexities, particularly his history of navigating some very significant legal challenges.
Let's start with the 1999 stabbing incident involving the record executive Lance Rivera.
This has defined his early legal history. He surrendered to police after allegedly stabbing Rivera at a club in New York over bootlegging rumors.
He initially maintained his innocence, but then pleaded guilty to third-degree assault in 2001. Got 3 years probation.
And that was the official record for more than 2 decades. But then in 2023, the entire narrative gets turned on its head.
Rivera publicly recanted.
He stated definitively that Jay-Z was not the person who stabbed him. He said Jay-Z took the blame for it.
Which is just an incredible turn of events.
And what's fascinating is that this 2023 confirmation, it validates a claim Nas made all the way back in his 2001 diss track, Ether.
Right. Nas said, your man stabbed Un and you took the blame for it.
So the street narrative was correct all along. And it seems Jay-Z took a legal hit to protect someone else, only to be cleared by the victim years later.
It speaks to this intense loyalty and code of conduct that comes from his early life.
Definitely. Now contrast that with the 2024 civil lawsuit.
This was filed by an anonymous woman, Jane Doe, alleging sexual assault back in 2000. Jay-Z immediately and strenuously denied the allegations, called it a blackmail attempt.
And the news coverage at the time detailed several inconsistencies in the accuser's story. Issues with her recollection of events, timelines, things like that.
Which is usually crucial in civil litigation.
Absolutely. And the sources confirm a very decisive legal outcome. The lawsuit was voluntarily dismissed with prejudice in February 2025, and crucially, without any settlement.
That with prejudice part is the key. It means the case cannot be refiled.
It's a massive legal victory. In high-stakes celebrity litigation, a dismissal with no settlement is a huge win that protects both his finances and his reputation. So these two incidents, decades apart, they really show his consistent ability to navigate and overcome complex legal scrutiny.
Okay, shifting to his positive impact. JYZ has used his wealth and influence for widespread philanthropy.
Most notably through the Shawn Carter Foundation, which he co-founded with his mother, Gloria Carter, in 2003.
And their focus is on helping students facing socioeconomic hardship get to college.
It's a direct investment back into the communities he came from, created the educational opportunities that he himself didn't have.
His efforts also go global. In 2006, he met with UN Secretary-General Kofi Annan and pledged to use his world tour to raise awareness about the global water shortage.
Right, which led to the MTV documentary Diary of Jay-Z Water for Life. That wasn't just about donating money. It was about leveraging his celebrity platform to generate mass awareness for a global issue.
Domestically, his contributions are also significant. He and Sean Combs donated $1 million for Hurricane Katrina relief.
And he also publicly supported Kanye West's controversial comments about George W. Bush during that telethon.
He's willing to align with uncomfortable political statements if he agrees with the sentiment behind them.
And his actions often speak louder than words. We found out in 2013 that he'd established a trust fund for the children of Sean Bell, who was killed by NYPD officers in 2006.
He's also donated to bail out protesters during the anti-police brutality activism in 2015.
These are calculated interventions, using his financial power to support social justice movements.
His political involvement goes right to the top. He was a fervent supporter of Barack Obama's campaigns in 2008 and 2012.
And it was more than just photo ops. He leveraged his cultural sway to mobilize voters. He also vocally endorsed Obama's support for same-sex marriage, which showed a progressive alignment that wasn't always common in hip-hop at the time.
During the 2016 election, he campaigned for Hillary Clinton and famously called Donald Trump a superbug.
A direct rhetorical challenge. He later offered a more nuanced take, suggesting Trump's rhetoric at least forced a societal reckoning with some issues, but his initial stance was clear. He consistently aligns the JYZ brand with global influence and cultural progressiveness.
Finally, we have to look at his most impactful partnership, his marriage to Beyoncé.
Their relationship started musically, with '03 Bonnie and Clyde and Crazy in Love. They married in a very private ceremony in 2008.
And their union immediately created a new kind of celebrity entity, the Carters.
They became Hollywood's top-earning couple, their combined wealth and influence magnifying their individual power. They are the ultimate synergistic financial partnership.
They have 3 children. Blue Ivy Carter, who became the youngest person ever to chart on Billboard at just 2 days old.
And the twins, Rumi and Sir, and their children are integrated into their artistic and public narrative right from birth.
And their real estate portfolio is just a testament to the scale of their wealth, an $88 million home in Bel Air.
And then, in 2023, they set a California record buying a Malibu mansion designed by Tidal for a staggering $200 million.
This kind of intentional acquisition of architectural masterpieces is another layer of status affirmation, moving from just wealth to the patronage of high art. So if we step all the way back and look at this entire trajectory, what does the transformation of Shawn Corey Carter really mean? The scope of his influences, I mean, it's just staggering. It goes so far beyond album sales.
It's the story of a man who realized that owning the distribution is infinitely more powerful than just providing the product.
He challenged the music distribution models with Tidal. He redefined sports representation with Roc Nation Sports.
And he secured generational wealth by focusing on high equity, ownership-based ventures in fashion, in beverages, in everything.
His career is a strategic masterclass. It's defined by these intentional high-stakes partnerships and just an aggressive embrace of ownership. He consistently moved upstream.
From selling his first product out of a car, to running a major label, to owning a piece of the luxury champagne industry.
And this journey, which is so fundamental to his public story, is constantly being tested by the complex legal and personal realities of his past.
Right. The public exoneration in the 1999 stabbing case, where the victim clears his name years later, and then the definitive dismissal of that 2024 civil suit. It all highlights his consistent ability to navigate, control, and ultimately overcome legal scrutiny.
Which raises a final provocative thought for you, the listener. Given all these intense, complex, and sometimes contradictory details, the violence, the hustle, the artistic genius, the calculated power, how does the public separation between the legal realities and his cultivated image reshape the meaning of his most famous mantra?
I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman.
Exactly.
When you realize that the business includes managing not just revenue streams, but also legacy, reputation, and even legal outcomes, the mantra takes on a much deeper, maybe even a more chilling strategic significance.
It challenges the very definition of success and control in the modern celebrity era.
Think about the infrastructure required to maintain a $2.6 billion brand that's built on personal narrative the next time you hear one of his tracks.
That's a great note to end on. A life dedicated to controlling the means of production and the means of narrative.